as Dr. Ngozi said, we have started this collaboration and this partnership with the WTO because sport and football in particular is also linked with trade. It has a real economic impact, well over 200 billion all over the world. Actually, 70% of this over actually almost 270 billion now is generated in Europe. So imagine the potential that there is still outside of Europe, and the Cotton 4 initiative is part of unleashing that potential. So when I joined FIFA, when I was elected FIFA president for the first time, I immediately wanted to set some clear steps for the development of women's football. 50% of the population, but I would say in addition to that, I have to declare here a conflict of interest. As father of 4 daughters, I am obliged, of course, because I have a lot of pressure at home, to do something for women generally, for women in football, for women in trade, for women empowerment, and it is a great pleasure to do so. We set some ambitious target, and we, I think, put some signals. So one of the first tasks, one of the first things that we did was to create in FIFA, it did not exist, a women's football division. Did not exist. It took us over 100 years to do it, but we did it in the first few months after my election, and actually a nice lady from down under from New Zealand is chairing or is heading up this division, Sarai. She is director of that division since 7 years now. We also appointed for the first time, on my proposal in the history of FIFA over 112 years, the first woman as General Secretary or Secretary General of FIFA, which is the top position in the administration of FIFA. So these are signals. We elaborated a women's football strategy that we put in place in 2018. Then, of course, COVID came, which gave us all over the world a bit of a halt in what we are doing, but we continued to develop it. We created a COVID relief plan worth $1.5 billion, a big part of which went into all our 211 countries, which are members of FIFA, specifically targeted to keeping women's football alive. Now, we had a very successful, to come back to what we did for women's football, a very successful Women's World Cup in France in 2019, with 1.2 billion viewers all over the world, more than 1 million in the stadiums. This shows the magnitude of this event. That the next World Cup in Australia and New Zealand will be even bigger than that, with 2 billion viewers. We had 172 countries participating in the qualifiers of this World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. And the last World Cup in France had only 143 countries participating. Now it was 172, and today we have 188 countries ranked in the FIFA ranking. So it is moving, it is getting bigger, it is getting more impactful, and events like this one are certainly helping in this direction. They don't understand, and that's very sad. They don't. The broadcasters, I should not say all of them, but some of them don't.
Because the bids were very low.
Thanks for the question. I just would like to say a few words about that, because we had 1.2 billion at the last World Cup, 263 million for the final. Now, the Super Bowl of American football has between 100 and 150 million viewers. The Women's World Cup final, the last one, had 263 million, so double the Super Bowl. The next Women's World Cup will have 2 billion viewers around the world. And what is very, very disappointing at this stage, and we are a few months away only from the Women's World Cup, first Women's World Cup that we commercialize separately from the Men's World Cup, because in the past, the way FIFA and also other organizations were commercializing their Women's World Cup was basically, so it's our fault as well, please buy the Men's World Cup, on top we give you the Women's World Cup kind of for free. right? We separated that. Now, for the first time, we are commercializing it individually because we believe that there is a real value. When it comes to the prize money, we tripled the prize money from the last World Cup in 2019. It was 50 million. We go now to 152 million US dollars. 2015, before my arrival in FIFA, it was 10 times less. It was 15 million. Now it's 150 million. But we need to generate this revenue. The figures are there. I give you just one comparison. If we take the big 5 European countries who are the most developed in the football GDP as well, well, they pay for the men's World Cup somewhere between 100 and 200 million each. Spain is a little bit less, a little bit below 100 million. Now, for the women's World Cup, they make us offers of 10 to 100 times less than for the men's World Cup. 100 times less. Now, when you look at the viewing figures of the women's World Cup, you compare it with the men's World Cup, it is not 100 times less. It is maybe, the Women's World Cup is maybe 50 to 60% of the Men's World Cup. In Germany, the most watched game, football game last year was the Women's Euro final, not the Men's World Cup matches of Germany, the Women's World Cup final. So I don't understand why German broadcasters offer us 30, 40 times less than for the men's World Cup. The same for the British, the same for the Italians. My country, Italy, didn't even qualify for the men's World Cup. And they offer us 200 times less or 100 times less for the women's World Cup than for the men's World Cup. This is not possible. It doesn't make any economic sense because the viewing figures are there. Maybe it's not, because it is in Australia and New Zealand, it's not played on prime time in Europe, but still it is played as of 9, 10 a.m., so it is quite a reasonable time. So I think there is still some way there to do something.